Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer. That's B-O-A-R-D. And coming to you with my pearl handle pistol cufflinks given to me by our content genius, Michael Rivers, who is behind the camera as we speak, and I work for him. I'm his employee. Today we're going to react to this Christopher Stanford. He's been charged with his 9th DWI. And we're going to talk a little bit about DWIs and what you should do, what you shouldn't do. But before we do that, let's talk about eSign.com. eSign.com is an effective way to remotely do business. Let's say you decide that you are going to drink and drive because this is what you love to do more than anything else, and you're the unluckiest son of a bitch, and every time you do it, you get caught. Well, what do? You're in jail, and all of a sudden you need to get a lawyer because all the other lawyers that you haven't paid aren't going to retain you. So you call somebody and they get something over to the jail, an e-sign document. They download the app. You get 3 free signatures a month. And then now you get this new lawyer who's a younger lawyer who's really a dumb because he thinks he's going to get a big case, but you're not going to pay him again either. But you sign a retainer agreement by e-sign, because if it isn't e-sign, no one signs, right? eSign.com is a very effective way to remotely do business. That's what I do. I use it all the time when somebody's out of state or can't come in, or if I need it done quickly. It's a way to seal a deal really fast. So eSign.com, an effective and easy way to remotely do business. eSign.com. Now, this Christopher Stanford been to prison 4 other times for felony DWI. In 2003, 18, 19, and now 2022. I don't understand. Anybody can get a DUI once. I mean, you go to the bar, you have a few cocktails. Oh my God, wasn't that fun, Jimmy? Yeah, it was, Billy. Let's go. And you hop in your car, and all of a sudden you see the cherries behind you. Okay, we'll pull over. Yeah, I was drinking. Yeah, I was drunk. I was weaving. Okay, I blew over .08. The legal limit is .08 nationwide. Elizabeth Dole was the Secretary of Transportation, and during that tenure, they tied highway funds to the lowering of the limit. And now nationwide, it's .08. The Elizabeth Dole thing that I was talking about earlier, they tied the highway funds to raising the legal age to drink to 21. And there's so many DUIs. I do some DUI work, but I don't do a ton of it because they're all the same. What I like in a good criminal case is a story. And that's why I say there's nothing like a good homicide between friends, right? So, because a homicide, there's a story there. And it's actually easier sometimes on a homicide because the jury wants to hear, okay, what are the facts of this case? When you have a crim sex case, they automatically look at your client and think, oh my God, that's disgusting. What the hell did he do? And you got to climb out of that hole. When you have a homicide, it isn't like that. It's more like a whodunit, and let's dive in. When you have a DWI, the facts are always almost the same. Yeah, I was driving. Yeah, I was weaving. Yeah, I got pulled over. Yeah, I blew over the legal limit. There's not a whole lot you can do. And then when you get these habitual offenders like this Christopher Stanford, oh my God. Number one, they don't think. Number 2, they don't quit drinking. And number 3, they don't quit driving. So this Christopher Stanford, he was sentenced Tuesday by a jury. Now, he pled guilty, but he elected to have a jury determine his sentence. We don't have that in Minnesota, and a lot of jurisdictions, they don't have that. But in some jurisdictions, you can have the jury decide your fate. I don't know that I would have done that in this case. And what do you do with somebody like this? I mean, what do you do? Well, you have to send them to treatment. And if they don't in other words, they don't complete treatment, they're going to be violated, on their conditions of release. And you won't have, when it comes to sentencing, you won't have a great argument that they're amenable to probation. But here's what struck me on this particular case. This is Mr. Stanford's 9th DWI. First DWI in Parker County, though. And he had other convictions in Tarrant, Dallas, Rockwell, and Johnson counties, just so that he had, and prosecutors saying he's a menace on the roadways throughout the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So he allows the jury to decide his fate. He says that he is unlucky. When he was confronted at the scene, he took off. He says, I have to go because I'm going to get in trouble. In other words, he knew kind of the gravity of what he was talking. He was belligerent, and at one point he tried to headbutt the paramedic because he got in a crash. He rear-ended somebody, and he tried to headbutt the paramedic that was trying to treat him. So when you have this kind of conduct related to the habitual use of alcohol in driving, what is the remedy for the court? Because the court needs to now protect the public. It's not so much that you need to punish him, because punishing him doesn't really work, right? You need to protect the public. And he testified, and this is the prosecutor's comment about his testimony. I thought his testimony showed a lack of personal insight that was manifested by his lack of concern for others on our roads. In our case, he was just not intoxicated. He was flat out drunk. So he was 0.26. 0.26 is 3 times plus the legal limit. But here's the thing. You would think, oh my God, would be passed out at that level. Well, yeah, but I mean, alcohol is something that you gain tolerance the more you do it, right? So somebody could be who's a habitual drunk can be 0.26 and look like they're almost normal. Under Texas law, the jury was allowed to determine his sentence, and they gave him a life sentence. Life sentence. And he'll be eligible for parole in 15 years. But let's watch this news clip from a while back. This is not new. I mean, this is, and it struck me because I've never heard anybody getting a life sentence for a DUI. But let's look at this, and this is right out of Dallas-Fort Worth.
Yeah, that's right, Steve. This 62-year-old man became an example here in Parker County when it comes to sending a strong message to repeat offending drunk drivers.
All right, this is actually, I kind of like watching these roadside field sobriety tests. If you're super drunk, don't do it. You don't have to do it on the side of the road, but you do have to take the test.
This is dash camera video of Ivy Ray Eberhardt.
And look at it, it's not in the middle of the night. And that's the other thing. These habitual offenders, guess what time they usually get caught? Early afternoon.
Failing a sobriety test during a 2014 DWI stop in Weatherford. It's an encounter with cops Eberhardt at this point had been through a dozen times, including 10 convictions for drunk driving.
If he's been through this a dozen times, you'd think he would be a taskmaster at doing these field sobriety tests.
He was very, very drunk. His blood alcohol was 0.30, so...
0.30. And look, he's walking and talking.
Almost 4 times the legal limit.
A Parker County judge on Wednesday sentenced Eberhardt to life in prison after considering this video and other evidence against the 62-year-old.
Okay, why don't you tell me this? Riddle me this. Why not just stay the fuck home? Why not just get absolutely plastered and do whatever you want to yourself, but stay home and not get in the... Do you know how many cases I get where somebody gets home and, oh shit, I need to go to Taco Bell. Because getting to Taco Bell at this time is going to be a healthy decision for me. No, it's not. I mean, if you don't have anything, order something. So one of the things that there's like if you were the MAD panel or the MAD Mothers Against Drunk Driver, they have been the most effective lobbying arm of any advocacy group I've ever seen, and they're nationwide.
4 whiskey bottles from his vehicle. All but one of them was completely empty. Swain's.
Okay, well, he's got a little party going on 4 wheels. They just defies logic that somebody just does not have that much self-preservation just for themselves. That they can't put the bottle away long enough to just not drink and drive. I mean, so a lot of times when somebody's that far gone in terms of being an alcoholic, sometimes they'll put them on a drug called Antabuse. And Antabuse supposedly makes you sick if you take any alcohol. And, it is, and drunks have been comedy material for a long time, but it really isn't funny when somebody like this actually gets into a crash and either burns or kills somebody. And so when you see these life sentences, you can be really altered. Your life can be really altered by either the criminal aspect of it or by the actual physical motor vehicle aspect of it. So, like the prosecutor said in that clip we just played, drink all you want, just don't drive. And the best thing to do if you're going to go out at night and you're going to have some alcohol, get an Uber before you even leave. So so you don't even take your car with you, so you don't have to even worry about getting your car home. So this is just our little reaction to a couple of major sentences in Texas. We don't have that in Minnesota. You can still get a long prison sentence for felony DUI in Minnesota, and it wasn't that long ago that there wasn't a felony DWI law in a lot of jurisdictions. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Be safe. Build. Don't drink, and if you're going to drink, don't drive. We'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer, with our content genius, Michael Rivers. We have Jaylap and Percy Mack to thank. We'll see you next time. And make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, sign up for Patreon. We got some very exclusive content coming out on Patreon. And we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away.
23-hour lockdown, please, is that my God?